You're all aware, Idubbbz has had a historic downfall.
I just want to ask him if you've always been shitting your pants.
No.
Somebody who was once known as the content cop of YouTube is now relegated to his wife's mother's basement and is eating the scraps of BreadTube's Twitch viewership, getting only roughly 200 live concurrent viewers, and that's being generous. And since everybody loves to see somebody become absolutely humiliated, we of course have a litany of YouTube videos criticizing Idubbbz. It has even become a cottage industry, in fact. But let me ask you this, if you lacked any originality whatsoever, what would you call your video on the guy that used to make Content Cop? Well, surely you would just make a content cop on him, right? So today I have picked out 4 different content cops that we'll be reviewing today, ranging from the ones that you already know to the obscure, from the American to the British, from the famous to the literally lost media. I've chosen these 4 based off of the following criteria. The video title had to say that it was a content cop. The person in the video had to dress up like a cop, and the video had to be criticizing Idubbbz in some way, shape, or form. There are plenty of other videos I had to leave on the cutting room floor, so if you would like for me to do a part 2, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're aware of any other content cops made by others, then be sure to shout them out in the comment section down below, and perhaps I'll be able to react to them and add them into part 2. But with that said, let's get straight into it. So the first of the videos that we're taking a look at is by Nugs TV being content cop Anisa's husband, which I think is a fairly good play on words, obviously. The whole meme is that Anisa is kind of the puppet master of Idubbbz, so calling Idubbbz Anisa's husband. Fair enough, fair enough. But the really funny part is that this content cop is actually lost media. But if it wasn't for me actually researching this video well ahead of time, knowing I was going to react to this video could have just disappeared off the face of the earth. But luckily, I still have the link, and this video is unlisted, but I can still react to it. The unlisting of the Content Cop video seemed to have coincided with a channel rebranding from his real name to Nugs TV, but that's enough of the strange circumstances surrounding the Content Cop. Let's talk about the Content Cop itself. So I know the bar is really in hell after the Content Cop H3, where Idubbbz just kind of sits in a room. Like really, this shit is so bad. It's so unentertaining. He just sits there and talks with a skit at the very beginning and end, with very minimal editing. And I must say, this Nugs TV Content Cop is actually way better because it has editing and humor and skits.
Is that really what you think your content cops were? Just 20 minutes of you shouting slurs? If that's all you did, nobody would have liked you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Idubbbz. Welcome to a new content cop.
In today's video, we're talking about Tanamangu, but we're also talking about...
For the most part, yes, it is Nugs himself just sitting in a chair talking about Content Cop, but he actually sometimes gets out of it and does little wacky poses. Maybe he might just say something relatively funny, does the funny Idubbbz voice. I will say with that skit in the beginning, he probably should have invested in a dead cat or something to actually block the wind from completely raping my ears.
What is this? Now hiring content cop
He really needed to put like a dead cat on his microphone. You know, like so just block that wind. Like this audio is just so bad. Why did you even do this? But the quirked up white boy shenanigans that he does in that intro is very much worth it. Completely makes up for my blown out eardrums. This is police brutality here. This is horrible. My biggest point of praise would be the pacing of this. It's not even 30 minutes long, but I feel like it explains so much. It gives a very brief overview of Anisa's relationship history with Idubbbz going all the way back to 2016. You can still follow along with what's going on. It really doesn't get lost in the weeds, which I think is an issue that a lot of especially YouTubers fall into, although it's not exclusive to them. And considering that this video was made in the wake of the Content Cop on H3, then you would think he would overly focus on that specifically, but no, this man is going through the whole history. He definitely gives that new content cop its time. But he even goes into the cart narcs video that Idubbbz did, which is absolute garbage. If you've seen my reaction to that on stream, and also my Idubbbz crash out video. But the best part that really wraps up the content cop in general in a really nice package is the very ending, where this man claims that Idubbbz was always insecure about himself, which I'm sure that Idubbbz himself would probably say as much.
As confident as he made himself seem in his prime. He's always been really fucking insecure, latching onto whatever group made him feel accepted. After the OnlyFans drama, a girl that he went on a date with in 2015 came out and called him weird and said that he didn't pay for their cheesecake factory. And then the Sam Hyde drama that I didn't even get into, but this all slowly whittled at his self-esteem until we have what we do today, which is pussy dubs.
Respect for this man for standing on business, saying that, yeah, even at his peak, he wasn't all that good, actually. He just happened to catch the wave that'd get him the most attention at the time. And the next one we have is actually a very interesting one, as it yields from an era before the big Idubbbz apology video of 2023. And it also even came out before Idubbbz decided to attack Froggy Fresh directly. That would be the Content Copper by Brah. It's called Content Copper because he's British. Get it? He's British. In it, I actually remember when this video came out, as obviously 2023 was a huge year for my channel and also a huge year for Idubbbz just being completely shat on. Now, considering this video is before all of that drama, this has the potential to either be very, very, very outdated, or this British guy is just Nostradamus. I'm open to both possibilities here. Now, this content cop is split into some very simple parts to break down all of his criticisms of Idubbbz. It starts off with the simp arc, obviously in 2020, with the whole Idubbbz and Anisa OnlyFans drama and a very poor response, just directly calling out his fans, which would then later become a reoccurring issue. Bro would also highlight how Idubbbz would disavow his old content and then throw his old fans under the bus, implying that they were morally inferior for liking that content back then.
Yeah, you know, my old fans, the people that got me to the position where I am now. Yeah, those old fans that got me millions of views and gave me millions of subscribers. Yeah, those people. Fuck those people. Particularly
with his content cop on the Fine Bros. Remember the Fine Bros?
Just generally making fun of them.
Yeah, the Fine Bros, those fine chaps that back in the day tried to monetize and copyright the word reaction, and then when they were called out for it by the commentary community, they fucking gave an awful response video. Yeah, those guys. It's a little awkward when I meet those guys, because it's just a goof and gaff,
After a short little skit, we then go see the Sam Hyde chapter. And wow, I watched the entire Truth About Idubbbz documentary, and I completely forgot just how pathetic Idubbbz seemed in this moment. And considering I'm watching a bunch of different videos that are going over the same exact topics over and over again for this video, I will say that this Sam Hyde segment is probably the most unique out of the content cops, at least in terms of criticism, not in terms of the skits at all. Mostly because he's poking holes in the logical fallacies in Idubbbz's argument when it comes to his documentary.
But then in that same documentary, he also, when he's interviewing Sam Hyde, points to the post-irony statement, suggesting that Ian is trying to give Sam a taste of his own medicine when it comes to not being clear about your intentions. The funny thing is, Idubbbz himself states that he's not a big fan of doing this, that he doesn't really agree with this style of humor, of irony. So why is he trying to do it to Sam?
We would then get a segment on Anisa Joma and her past before meeting Idubbbz and how she behaves now. And of course, he would then use a clip of Sam Hyde calling out Anisa to segue to Career Clash 2.
What does that say about you and how f***ed up you are? They said that you used your Alzheimer's father as a dramatic prop. That's what Creator Clash 1 was for? It was for Alzheimer's or something like that?
But must I say that Sam Hyde clip is actually a lot more damning on Idubbbz than the clip that he used for Sam Hyde in his actual video. And considering Sam Hyde is in the same room playing in this same exact Minecraft world in both of the clips, Idubbbz had to have actually seen Sam Hyde say that Anisa Joma does not care about her Alzheimer's-ridden father, but is just using him as a prop for creator clash. Like, how are you going to ignore that piece of criticism and then just focus on some pejoratives that Sam Hyde said? Interestingly enough about this Creator Clash segment is that he's questioning the financials of Creator Clash 2 before Idubbbz just came out and said, yeah, we messed up, we lost money. What makes it even funnier that he's citing Boblex of all people for this.
Information that's come out from this YouTuber who has suggested that each of the fighters are getting their own proceeds from the event that aren't going to the charities.
Obviously, in the rearview mirror, this video is a lot less interesting given all that we know about Idubbbz now and what he's came out since. But there is one segment in this video that I rarely see anybody else address, and it's Idubbbz's hypocrisy when it comes to the banter between boxing opponents. Unfortunately, this unique aspect is not really doubled down on at all. It's just used as a clip side by side of him making fun of Alex Wasabi, which probably more in a joking tone, versus the comments that Froggy Fresh made that would end up with him getting kicked off. Then we cut to the final confrontation with Idubbbz in this content cop. Did you forget that there's supposed to be physical comedy in a content cop? Yeah, I sure have. And of course, it had to take place in a sewer. And yes, of course, it had to have a lightsaber fight. And of course, it had to have Star Wars Duel of the Fates music. And then, yeah, then it has Metal Gear Rising. Is this some like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance shit? Yep, of course. I knew it. Now, this next one that we have is actually very interesting because it's not actually by anybody who made a name for himself on YouTube. He literally made this one video and left, and I actually find that quite respectable. Now, with that being said, obviously, since he's not a YouTuber, he's not exactly going up to the standards you'd expect a seasoned veteran of making content would be. In fact, he did one of the worst things you can do as a YouTuber and have a bloody boring intro. For the first 50 seconds, you're just getting a quick history. And I'm assuming if you're watching a video called Content Cop Idubbbz, you probably know the brief history of Idubbbz. But I am laying on the negativity quite thick, which, trust me, I actually did not have high standards going to this Content Cop at all. But when I actually went through it, it actually got better as I kept watching. It had a very slow start, but I actually quite enjoy it. I can actually respect the risky, bold decision to make the Content Cop theme not using the actual Content Cop, but the intro is using some other song. There we go. Okay, 1 minute in. This does not sound like the Otis McDonald. That's a Waffle House. That's a Waffle House name tag. Does bro actually work at Waffle House? But you will get Otis McMusic in the very end of this video. He didn't completely neglect the song. And I will say, obviously, it's probably a better choice just to go with the original, but I will say the pacing of the skit at the beginning is quite good and actually matches the theme. He's even in the costume for just about the entire video, which can't be said for most people. Not even including Idubbbz's new Content Cop. I know, crazy. A Content Cop where you're actually wearing the Content Cop uniform. Who would have thought? Getting into the contents of the criticism itself, he makes it very clear that he's not going to get for the low-hanging fruit. He's not going to call him names. He's not going to quote-unquote bully Idubbbz. He's actually giving constructive criticism.
I don't really care much for bullying. I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit, if you ask me.
I think he lingered on that point a little too long, but hey, it's a good principle to have. His whole chapter talking about the ego of Idubbbz and Anisa I find to be very compelling, but I will say this definitely did not age all too well, considering that he literally calls for Idubbbz to remove the Tana Mojo Content Cop if he were to be consistent with his new principles, which Idubbbz later did when he apologized.
If y'all actually felt bad about the whole Tana Mongeau thing, then why are you just casually dropping this on a podcast? Why aren't you, I don't know, making a public apology? Why is the video still up? You know, I don't even really see a bit of remorse or a bit of real empathy on your face when you say it. Both of y'all are laughing about it, and it doesn't really seem like it's yeah, I shouldn't have done that. It's more like, hope y'all don't judge me for it.
And he would constantly do this where he would say something, but within a month, Idubbbz would have his own apology video and then make the criticism irrelevant, which I think is really funny. Or maybe it's a sign that Idubbbz actually listened to this guy's criticism. Going into the Sam Hyde chapter, I actually find this to be really good too, because at the very end, he just completely called out Idubbbz's bluff. Because why should Idubbbz be expecting Sam Hyde, when recording the documentary, to actually open up to him? Sam Hyde is first and foremost a shitposter, entertainer, comedian.
What the fuck did you think was gonna happen, dude? Like, honestly, you go to Sam Hyde's place and he just like, oh, opens up to you out of all people? Dude was just A, trying to provide some entertainment since you were gonna punk him anyways. And B, he was probably just trying to flex a little bit too. I mean, like, might as well just let the guy do it. What's the worst that could happen? You get some, I don't know, entertainment on your fucking channel?
Out of all the criticism, I'd probably say that the Sam Hyde chapter is probably the ones that stuck the most, especially considering it's not being as covered as much by the other content cops, because right after it's covering Anisa and then Creator Clash and the Froggy Fresh drama. I have been covering that on and off for like 3 years now. I've been inundated with the Froggy Fresh drama. And for some reason, he decides to add in a funk segment where it's an edit of Mutahar reading the tweets out.
You wouldn't have the fight if not for her. That's why, numbnut. Of course, Froggy Fresh says, yo, hit me up to beat up your daughter's BF, Lamau. Lamau.
It wasn't all that entertaining, my feelings on Mutahar aside, but I guess it got the information across. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on him because this is his first YouTube video, at least the only one that's public on this channel. And for a first YouTube video, this sure is better than anything I could do. I mean, have you seen the first few videos on this channel? You don't want to. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. For as amateurish as it is, I do have a soft spot for it. Even if it is a bunch of talking points that we've already heard before and I've had to been hearing and even making throughout the past 3 years. I'm still finding it hard to believe that 2023 was 3 years ago. There's a really nice detail. At 2 minutes in, he just starts shaving off his beard, leaving only a mustache. It's not like he had a bad beard, but it is the quintessential cop aesthetic to have only a mustache. And he pulls it off quite well, I must say. And I think I saved the best one for last because we have the most recent and the one you most likely have already watched, the one by Cameron F305. Whereas the others I've reacted to for the most part were posted in 2023, a lot of them before Idubbbz made his infamous apology video, Cameron F305 was mostly inspired by the content cop on H3H3 back in 2025. And funny enough, so many events kept happening after that content cop on H3H3 that Cameron had to keep updating the video after he was recording it like weeks later just to give updates on Creator Clash 3, which would later get canceled. Not to mention the later content deputy Idubbbz would post himself. Idubbbz really found an op in the most strange of places because Cameron F305 was an Idubbbz fan. This guy actually went to Creator Clash 2 in Tampa, Florida. Yes, the same Creator Clash 2 that failed, lost a bunch of money, kicked Froggy Fresh off, but it was supposed to go to charity, at least we all thought. And Cameron, before he became the new content cop, he was doing Five Nights at Freddy's fan games and music for the Yandere simulator. Yandere Dev really is an unfortunate man to ever be associated with. But enough of the context surrounding the video, let's just talk about the video itself. A breath of fresh air considering the previous videos we were watching actually starts at the Idubbbz apology video. It's not going into all of the drama when it comes to Froggy Fresh right off the bat. It will be mentioned, however, but it's mostly to establish what are Idubbbz's new principles and using the hypocrisy argument of Idubbbz's new principles that he proclaimed in 2023 versus what he's doing in his 2025 content cop on H3H3. If you remember in his addressing the Froggy Fresh situation video, Idubbbz was very much against using the hypocrisy when it comes to his old videos versus him now, but obviously that was before his apology video. He should be held up to the standards he set for himself, which he's obviously not following when it comes to H3H3, a friend that he had for nearly a decade before squandering it. A really good inclusion to have at the very beginning of the video is his argument that Idubbbz just makes very bad videos nowadays, which if you looked at Idubbbz's lineup from that apology video until 2025, yeah, it's bad. I remember back in 2023, I would occasionally stream reactions to Idubbbz videos, see what he's actually up to, and it's genuinely the most boring shit ever. That's why I had to stop. It just became boring. There was nothing incendiary to it. There was nothing really to react to. How am I supposed to react to ants on a log? Why did Idubbbz think it would be entertaining to post ants on a log? What is he doing here? But clearly Idubbbz did see that his views were very much waning because he's just not entertaining. So he decided to just switch up and basically become a bread tuber, making political arguments for videos, not even trying to be funny or entertaining at all. And that will segue us right into the Content Cop on H3H3 segment. And what Cameron does magnificently well here is that he establishes who Idubbbz is currently friends with, especially the ones that were featured in the video, like Frogan, like Denims, like Shonda Black, and obviously like Hassan Piker. And then he contrasts that with how Idubbbz decided to throw H3H3 under the bus after he had a minor disagreement with Hassan Piker, which blew way out of proportion over a country in the Middle East that neither of them currently live in. All of this sets the stage at completely debunking everything said in the Content Cop on H3. It was so bad, it made me sympathetic for H3. This response to this Content Cop may be the most thorough dissection of this video that I have ever seen. Obviously, H3's responses, the multiple that he gave, were very thorough in his own right, but obviously he went a little too far into the weeds talking about a fucking anime sword that Hassan Piker bought. And obviously, since it was live for the most part and H3's video response was much shorter than this, it shouldn't exactly be expected that H3 would have every clip on hand necessary to completely debunk Idubbbz instantly. But considering H3H3 has decided to prop up Cameron, then I suppose they have an alliance there. I also have to give kudos considering Cameron is not doing a very dry response. He is actually having humor in there, very similar to how Idubbbz would actually do it way back then.
Quite honestly, I should have known that the second you decided any of those tattoos that make you look like a reformed skinhead looked good to you. Maybe it was the LASIK surgery that went a little too deep into your eyes and melted your brain. Maybe Sam Hyde kicked you too hard. Cameron, please stop being a cyberbelly.
Which brings me to another point to speak to why this video just got so many more views than the other ones. It's probably the timing, but for the most part, it has to do with the excellent aesthetics and actually understanding what made Idubbbz appealing way back when. This is the most authentic Content Cop that I have seen since 2017, and that is including the new one that Idubbbz posted just last year. The comedy skit at the very beginning, obviously to the tune of Otis McMusic, feels just like it could have been from one of those old Content Cops. The humor, it is very much Idubbbz. There is definitely Cameron's own taste in there. There was definitely a FNAF 2 jump scare sound in there multiple times throughout the video. I don't remember Idubbbz doing that, but you know what? For the badges for Cameron now. This dude somehow managed to raise more money for cancer charity than Idubbbz did in Creator Clash 2. Or Creator Clash 3 for that matter, considering Creator Clash 3 got canceled. This Content Cop really is lightning in a bottle. Like, it had to take somebody who is definitely socially awkward. I am assuming things right now, but since he was literally making music for Yandere Similar, I'm just going to assume he was socially awkward. He knew what the internet was like back in 2016. He knew the group that Idubbbz surrounded himself with and what his enemies were back in 2016. And he can definitely just pinpoint every single point that changed along the way. How Idubbbz went from point A to point B all the way down to hell. This is the most thorough takedown of Idubbbz I have ever seen. Despite it being 90 minutes long, a literal feature-length movie, it does not feel like it's that long. The runtime does not feel like it's bloated. He talked about everything that he needed to say without any extra fluff or filler. And since that one video was so good, Cameron decided to just take it all the way, and now he's just the content. He's still making content cops. And it's so funny. If you were to look at his channel, his newest videos right now, you can see that the reason why he's just going with the content cop, because every single video where he tries to not do a content cop, it just doesn't get nearly as many views. Maybe if the content cop career goes under, he'll actually get back to working on Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, but who knows? With all that said and done, I think it's time that we rank the content cop videos. While I don't think any are bad by any right, I would rank them as such. Cameron's is S tier, as you could probably guess, followed by Nugs TV, who I put in A tier. B tier would be Can You Brah, the content copper, the British one. And C tier, I would go with uTubbbz, which C is a pretty good tier considering that's his one and only video on the channel. Assuming he has no prior experience to this is actually really good. But as a reminder, I may do a part 2 if there's enough interest, so be sure to comment down below what other content cops you would like me to cover. And if anybody who actually made those content cops are actually watching, thank you so much. I actually did really enjoy watching all these and talking about them. It's a meta narrative about spin-offs of a series made by somebody else talking shit on the guy who originally created the format. I would like to think that's at least more entertaining about talking about Idubbbz' every waking minute that he's streaming. It's shit. He literally makes garbage. Somebody needs to travel back in time like 10 years to show Idubbbz what he's become, because frankly, there's no way he would like what he sees.